my colleague from NFL Network, who will be performing her terrific duties on the sidelines of a game that will have more first downs than we promised than ever before for the Jaguars and the Rams. Sara Walsh here from NFL Network. Good to see you, Sarah. How are you?
Thank you. Performing. I'm like, whoa.
And I kind of feel like, you deserve a raise having been on the sideline of the Vikings and the Browns prior to the Jets and the Broncos. You have been here for coming up on 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks. It's
Okay.
a cool caveat to that is
Sure.
2 weeks ago when I was here, so before you and Kurt got here, Greg Newsome was here with the Browns.
Yes.
He's coming back with the Jags.
That's right.
Which is wild. Wow. So think about this, and I talked to him. So he gets home from London. He's like, I knew I was going to be tired because they didn't take the bye. The Browns did not take the bye. He's like, I knew it was going to be a long week. He told me he gets a call Wednesday night from his agent late, and he goes, oh, I'm getting extended. Like, this is my extension. And he's like, hey, you're being traded to the Jags. He's already like tired, gets on a plane the next morning, goes to Jacksonville, plays for the Jags, gets on an international flight back here. So you want to talk about, I've been here, but I've been, that's one flight over.
Yeah.
This guy has now made 2 international trips in 3 weeks, 2 different teams. That's a wild story.
Dang.
That's a lot
Yeah,
of frequent flyer miles for sure.
Rough.
And so, I guess there's many different ways to start with you here, but the Rams at 4-2 could be 6-0. We had that conversation with Sean McVay today when we were chatting with him in our broadcast meeting. The Jaguars started off at 4-1. They come off of this loss, and they kind of know each other pretty well because Cohen comes from the McVay staff. Their general manager comes from the Rams front office, so they're kind of in a similar mode. If you look at these two teams.
Yeah, definitely. Sarah. And even just talking to Sean about Lee, he said he's talked to him throughout the course of this regular season,
right,
but not this week, obviously. Mm-hmm. One of the things I think that's interesting about Liam, and I was talking to one of his guys about it, Foye Aluakon said, like, he's got an edge to him, and he's like, he's got something to prove, which is, he's coming in, this is his first job as a head coach, and so I thought it was interesting that he's coming in, he basically said, like, with a chip on his shoulder, and wanting to prove stuff, and feels like this isn't, he told me they get the sense from him, like, he doesn't feel like, well, I'm working my way through some of these, like, first-year head coaching things, that he comes in with this mentality of, like, no, we should win now. But I think the Jags are really interesting because while there's pieces there, their offense has been weird in terms of getting in a rhythm. Mm-hmm. This is potentially a bounce back for them, probably a heavy dose of ETN. But I don't think that they have hit their stride. But again, this is all a new system. I saw the Bucs deal with this with Liam a year ago.
Right.
And so I definitely don't think Jacksonville has hit its stride in terms of feeling like Trevor's in rhythm. He got sacked a ton. We saw a lot of sacks last week, but Trevor got sacked a ton a week ago. And so I think this is an offense that's still really trying to either, one, learn under Liam and find its rhythm. So clearly Sean and Liam have a familiarity with each other. I'm not sure like where the Jags are in terms of how comfortable they feel yet in this offense, which I think is still evolving, right?
Well, they have a chance to win their division as we're entering week 7. Yep. With the Texans coming off of a bye and still under 500, taking on Seattle on Monday night, one of those two games on a Monday night to wrap up this weekend, and the Colts at 5-1 are sort of running away with it right now, if not for Jacksonville. So they really have a chance to do that, And then speaking of Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay at Detroit is just the biggest game of the week. And you just mentioned, again, Liam Cohen leaving Tampa. It is, just how good is Baker Mayfield, right? He loses Canales, then gets Cohen, has a better year, now loses Cohen, and is having the best year of his career. He's unbelievable.
There is this narrative we talk about, right? Consistency. And for the longest time, it was like, poor Baker, he doesn't have any maybe Baker doesn't need consistency. Maybe the key to Baker is like, bring him in, line him up, and I'll get these guys going. He has turned into a head coach maker. So when I was talking to Josh Grizzard, his latest offensive coordinator, and, let's go back. So Dave Canales is there. He gets this shot, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's never been an offensive coordinator even before. How's this going to go? He does so well, he goes to Carolina, and then it's the same story. Oh, Liam Cohen, now here's your shot. This last guy, he was here for a second, gets a head coaching job. Is the same going to happen to you? Like, like that's probably not going to happen. It happens. And so then Grizzard, before the season started, I go, hey man, like no pressure, but this is kind of awkward if you don't get a head coaching job next year, right? Like it's a little bit awkward if he doesn't. But I have to say, I think he is doing by far and away the best job of the three. And this is no disrespect to Dave or Liam, but neither one of them had to deal with the injury situation that they are dealing with in Tampa. And I know every team's going to say they're injured. It has been monstrous. I mean, they started the year, the line complete disarray. They're signing practice squad guys from their practice squad, from other practice squad guys to play line. And then you take out, if you look out a week ago, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, now no Emeka Ibuka, who's come out of, well, I don't want to say nowhere, he's their first round pick, but he's sort of taken over.
Sure.
No Bucky Irving. They started the year without, these are like, let's just go down the list of stars that they have all out. And they find a way every week. I mean, in fairness, every week I'm like, there's no way, how are they going to pull this out? And it's Baker. I mean, that is Baker putting the team on his back, making receivers that you didn't even hear of 2 days prior touchdown makers.
Well, I mean, some of these third downs that Baker's picking up with his legs is kind of the personification of what you just said. Like every single week you think, how are they going to get out of this? And it's the same thing about these plays. Week 2 against the Texans, last week, 3rd and 14. How's he going to get out of this? And he does, and he just keeps leading everybody down the field. And interesting how you said, you also just said, Sarah, I got Sara Walsh here, NFL Networks, Sara Walsh on the Rich Eisen Show. Interesting that you just said what you just said, that that he's a coach maker. And that, like, well,
I like
honestly,
that. I really like that.
But he used to be a coach killer. Like that was his reputation. That he's brash, he's obnoxious, he's immature. Now, as he was even joking about from the podium a couple weeks ago, now I've got moxie. Now I've got an edge.
Dog in me.
Now I got a dog in me, and he's now a coach. But he hasn't.
He hasn't changed.
You keep on mentioning like, what is the constant? He's the constant. He is the constant. We're just all changing around him, and thankfully for him, the circumstances of his career have changed.
I got to tell you, I think his first start in Cleveland years ago, and I remember he came into the production meeting, and this idea that he was cocky and he was this, I mean, he has a swagger about him. I always took my meetings with him. I'm like, I like this. Like, this is the guy I would want. Right. I never took it the way, like, I'm sure there's certain things in Baker's career he'd be like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But he owns it, and he's never shied away from it. Yep. He is... when you talk about people being like phony or fraudulent, he is the most real person. Like, I mean, he is who he is, and he doesn't try to be somebody he's not. And I just remember in Cleveland, and I was at this game, and he wins this game, and he just has this energy. He fires up people around him. That narrative, I can tell you, when he got to Tampa, that this guy was cocky, and they loved him the second he walked in that locker room because the way he takes care of people around him, and I don't even mean just like players. I mean people on staff. I mean, PR folks, he looks out for everybody around him and makes people better around him. And that comes from inside that building. That comes from things I've observed. So it's not surprising that he is doing what he's doing. Now, some of the plays, I mean, it's snowballing to the point that it's now ridiculous. Like you just alluded. I mean, there was one where he should have been sacked. He had multiple. The play's over, and it's not.
Oh my gosh!
But I can't tell you when this guy, and it happened a couple of times last year, when this guy gets up and kind of gives somebody a shove or lowers his helmet, like, and he shouldn't, right? Like puts his shoulder pads down, and they know he shouldn't do it, and they don't want him to do it. But what that does to that stadium there and to the guys around him. It is a game changer. It is motivationally a game changer, and that's what he does. And you're just seeing they've always been close, but they're closing out anything that's close. Yeah,
and this weekend's, again, Monday night game on ESPN and ABC. Those two games are pretty huge. Houston at Seattle, and the one that I'm referring to. And if the Bucs pull this one off and go to 6-1 with wins against everybody but Philadelphia. You know what I mean? And so they would be able to say, okay, we've beaten Atlanta, we've beaten Seattle, we've beaten San Francisco, and we've beaten Detroit. Those are teams that they're going to maybe have to face off later on in the winter, but at the end of the day, have to face off in terms of a tiebreaker where the game is being played. You know, and these are all massive wins that they'd be able to post.
And I just think about, so even the Eagles game that they lost, the fact that they were in that with who they were missing,
right.
I looked at that and I'm like, that's not a loss. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they have gotten to where they have gotten with the pieces that are missing, and I get it, every team's going to say we're missing some pieces. They are missing virtually like every star on offense. And a line, and we all see how important these lines are and how that changes everything. Carson Wentz had very little time to throw when he was here 2 weeks ago and I saw him. They had a remade line. I mean, they are making something out of nothing in a wild manner. And so, again, and also I would say this, it's so much Baker, but Todd Bowles deserves a lot of credit. I mean, this is a guy that, like, Todd doesn't get excited about much. Todd doesn't get high, he doesn't get low. He's just like cool, calm, and collected. But there's always an answer. These guys have had an answer for everything.
Well, it's the same way, and again, that if you win, you're no longer cocky. You've got an edge.
Yeah.
In the same way, if you lose and you have Todd Bowles' demeanor, you don't have a pulse.
Yeah.
There's no emotion.
He's taking hits for that. Yeah.
And now, when you win, it's just like, wow, everybody's
how cool is this coach?
Yeah, he just keeps
so
his cool under pressure.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works.
Yeah. Well,
But
Baker, I mean, him pointing him out, he nailed it. And that's us. That's perception, right?
Yes.
But, like, I do not think that this man has changed from what, I mean, look, when he was in high school, I mean, he is who he is, and it's working.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at this week's schedule as we're laying it out, we've got a game, thankfully, where both teams are over 500.
Yep.
This game that we just talked about, Bucs and Lions, is another one of those. And then the Eagles and the Vikings are one of them as well. And the Vikings are coming off of a bye, off of the win that you were on the sidelines for against the Browns. When you were talking to Kevin O'Connell and about JJ McCarthy, the general sense from outside the building in the media is that this ankle injury is just to give him a breather because the first two games for him outside of the fourth quarter on Monday Night Football Week 1 were just so overwhelming for the kid. What did you glean in the broadcast meetings and some of your conversations, Sarah, about how they view J.J. McCarthy going forward for this first year for him as the starter?
They think he's their guy. As of right now, he's this guy that they expect to. I mean, it's still such a small sample size, right? I think overall, it's not. Look, those numbers aren't great. Like you can look at those numbers and go, but it's not like this kid has had a full season. And when we say kid, like he's still so young.
He's a baby.
He's a baby.
He has a baby too, as a baby.
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
I did talk to him coming off the practice field. He was standing around. He wasn't practicing, and he was like, everything's progressing. He's like, this has been hard, obviously, having to sit here and take these mental reps again. He's like, it's allowed me to prepare for the Eagles. So when he was over here, which now feels like a lifetime ago because we've done a couple games, but he was like, it's allowed me to prepare for the Eagles. Kevin O'Connell and those guys are positive. I feel like it's so young in his career.
Yes.
There was no reason for them not to be. I think the line is a real problem for them, and hopefully they're healthier than when I saw them a couple weeks ago because they came over here, were dealing with injuries, continued to get hit with injuries, and they were in a situation where they were going 2 and 3 on this depth chart and shifting stuff around, and that was a game that like Cleveland controlled most of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought Cleveland was going to pull that one out. Dylan Gabriel didn't make mistakes. He didn't do anything to lose that game, right? And the Vikings, if it's not for Justin Jefferson, and we've all heard this narrative before, how many times, if not for Justin Jefferson, like pulling out a couple of huge grabs and then Jordan Addison going down the field. I mean, this was a last drive to win the game sort of thing that could have definitely gone another way. So it's not like the alternate version was lighting it up, right? They've had some real protection problems.
Okay, so seeing the league through the prism of the Bucs, since that's the team that you're covering mostly for NFL Network, the best team in the league, you can include the Bucs through 7 weeks, and whatever you've seen, like the rest of us in the AFC,
Without a doubt.
They are
without a doubt.
the Bucs are the best team in the NFL.
No. I thought you said I could include them.
Okay, you can include them.
Yeah, I would include them up there because I just think we haven't even seen what this team could be healthy. And they haven't even been close to being healthy. I mean, anytime you take Mike off the field, hugely detrimental. And I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but if you looked at the stats last year when Baker didn't have Mike, it was a problem.
Well, last week was the first game he's won without him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Right.
And so I just look at
the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
If they played the Eagles the way they played them, and without everyone, and they've been doing this now for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, and I just keep thinking like it's somewhere this is going to crash, and when we're pulling out guys that are just scoring touchdowns that coming into the game didn't have a catch or have never had an NFL catch before last weekend, and then finding the end zone, I think you have to put them up there. I think they have to be up there, even more so if you really know what they still have coming in terms of Bucky coming back, Mike coming back, Tristan's just getting back and his feet under him. So, yeah, 100%.
Your favorite story that you're eager to unpack for us on Sunday is what? That you've had come across in prepping for Rams-Jaguars? Other than, I guess, Greg Newsome.
I like the Greg Newsome one.
That's a pretty good one. I mean, somebody who played here for another team 2 weeks ago and then gets traded and comes back. It's tough to beat that one. But anything else that's across your notebook?
I like that one the most. I still got to. I'm not done, Rich, with my.
Your preps have not been.
Yeah, my digging journalistically on this game yet. I mean, I think the way that the Rams are doing this week is so intriguing. And we talked about that, just being on a baseball field, and you know what it is in the monotony.
I was aware of how.
I love the picture of Stafford throwing off the mound.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it with him today.
Bite.
Yeah, that was great.
He talked about it. He said his curveballs got bite.
He was throwing curves off the mound.
Did you guys know he went to high school with Clayton Kershaw?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Breaking news.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He was great about that, by the way.
He was great about that, too.
Talking about that they were kids playing together when he went to visit Kershaw at the end here. I think too, when you break up monotony, and you know how all these guys are about they just want a week to look different somehow. You put these guys, you would think that you gave them, like they were 5-year-olds, you gave a toy store. You see them coming out onto the field at Camden Yards for the first time. I mean, it's so exciting to them. I mean, the grass is still grass, but just the fact that they're in a different environment, it's like they're having a great time.
Camden does have that feel too, though.
Well, I mean, and they also are pointing out the reason why they spent the time there in Baltimore all week, and they are, as of right now, still in Baltimore. They're not flying from Baltimore till tomorrow. They are treating this.
Wow.
McVay said he's treating this like they're going west to east. So if they were playing a game at 1 o'clock Eastern on the East Coast, they wouldn't leave till Friday night and arrive on Saturday either. And because they're, acclimated to the East Coast time zone, it's the same thing. It's just that Baltimore is going to become the West Coast of their situation.
Sure.
And London is now the 1 o'clock Eastern time of their scenario. And and when Devontae Adams sat down with us today, he had just sat down and he volunteered that McVay was just telling them all about why they're doing this plan. And he's just like, he goes, I'm still trying to buy it. That's what he said, trying to buy that. It's going to all work out. But that's why they're.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that.
Like sometimes I
scenario.
feel like we make too much out of the travel schedules because now we've been doing this for so long.
True.
So I do think it can get a little monotonous where we're like, when did they travel in? Like because they're all doing it. But this is unusual. Like I've never heard of someone traveling the day before a game. They are arriving Saturday morning, the day before a game, flying overnight. That's different than just doing the usual schedule thing. I think it's really intriguing how they're doing it. And then Matthew Stafford, when I asked him about that, saying, I've never been in the second quarter before thinking, I should have gotten a couple more hours sleep.
That's what he said.
I think at the end of the day,
point.
adrenaline
kicks in.
It'll do some things for you.
How many times have we done these games when it's just like, I don't believe they traveled like that. That's going to be a big problem.
Oh, yeah,
and then
we're wrong.
boat race the team that's been here for a week.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We were on that in Munich, I remember a couple times.
Over and over again.
It makes me doubt. Like, I get a vibe, before the game, but it makes me doubt it because I've seen it. I've been at a practice overseas where you see a team that looks like, just
the
so
Bucks
juiced with
looked
energy.
like that in Munich.
Correct.
And then when we saw Pete Carroll bounce off the buses with Seattle.
They're playing music out there. They're dancing midfield. We're like, the Bucks are in trouble. They don't have this kind of energy.
We thought the same exact thing because they were going bowling for Drew Locke's birthday. Remember that?
Like having a great time.
That's what they were having a great time. And the Bucks looked like they were just 100% not happy to be there or around each other. And then they had their best game of the year.
Yep. So I know. So I don't. It's that exact scenario that makes me never trust that. But I believe Stafford's right. You can feel. Even doing games, you can feel like dragging, but adrenaline and doing the job and being in the moment. And again, he's like, I've never been in the second quarter thinking about what sleep I didn't get.
So when you say I know what it's like to drag during a game and then use your adrenaline to get through it, is it just last week that you're referring to?
No,
so you're referring to.
By the way, I didn't have to do that much because honestly,
What's the nothing to report on? It stinks down here. Back to you.
I had
what else
all my
reports.
Talk
about?
All my reports were literally. I had so many good offensive reports.
You did.
And the producer would be like, "Do you want us to go to?" He was so nice. Barry Landis shot.
He's
He
awesome.
was so nice, and he's like, "Sarah, can I get you in here?" And I'm like, "I don't really think I've never."
Justin Fields felt really good coming into this game. Like you
I
can't
was
do
going to through the thing about the social media, how he's gotten rid of social media because he doesn't want to hear it. And then I'm like, no, this probably isn't. Like, I would take a knee for appropriateness. You know what I mean? Like, just on like, this is not the right time. And Barry, to his credit, no one's ever tried to get me in more. And I was like, it's just not working.
You were turning down opportunities for airtime.
I was. You know what? I was like, let Rich and Kurt have more time with the telestrator because I know they would love it. So I was like, let them have the telestrator time.
I was begging for Kurt to just circle anybody. I even told him, circle anybody. Yeah.
He didn't know what to do.
Please, he didn't know what to do. He froze. Oh, my God. All right. You're awesome, Sarah. I will see you over the next couple days, obviously. We're working together. Okay. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app, 12 to 3 Eastern.